Hello, my name is Olivia Duncan, and this is my submission for 2904 EMB, Sustainable Design Principles. My two buildings that I'll be focusing on today is G42 and G27, both located on Griffith University's Gold Coast campus, and they're both business buildings as well. G42 is a slightly newer building built in 2013. It has a neighbours rating of 6 and 6 total stories. G27, on the other hand, is slightly older, has 3 stories and a neighbours rating of 0, which you'll see in Figure 2. Figure 1 has an aerial view of the entire site, so it includes both of the buildings and the surrounding elements. You'll notice on the southwest and southeast facade for G42 and G27 respectively that there's quite a lot of vegetation in between the both of them. This, of course, shelters the lower floors significantly and also reduces the amount of wind access, particularly as you can see in Figure 3, as you get a lot of southerly wind throughout the year. In Figure 4, as you can see, the contour map, G42 is on top of the hill, the slight slope rather, and G27 is at the bottom, which means that G42 gets a lot more of that wind exposure, thus significantly increasing the amount of airflow that can go through that building, as opposed to G27, which is far more sheltered, especially considering the trees and the surrounding buildings. You'll also note in Figure 5 the sun path there. So having G27, its longest facade and most exposed facade, is also on the north side. This dramatically increases the amount of sun exposure the building receives. It's also got quite a lot of windows on that facade, however reduces a lot of eaves and other sheltering devices, such as paneling and other methods, to reduce that amount of sunlight and sun heat transfer that enters the building, which dramatically increases the amount of heat that actually enters during those months, which you can see in Figure 6, dramatically reduces the amount of air conditioning required and thus energy consumption. G42, on the other hand, you'll note as well in Figure 1, has solar panels on the roofing. Despite the fact that it also receives the most exposure on that northerly, westerly side, easterly rather side, it doesn't receive quite as much sun exposure. It's got quite a lot of paneling, which you'll also see in Figure 7, that actually increases the amount of light entrance, which means it doesn't require quite as much artificial lighting, however does not allow for that heat transfer into the building, allowing its energy consumption to be steady throughout the year. In Figure 8, you'll note that the G42 has quite a large void space on the westerly side there. So it does let in quite a lot of light into the space, however being quite tall and having a lot of air as a natural ventilation element as well increases the comfortability in the area and air quality, as well as wind entrance, however reduces the amount of heat transfer as it is such a large area. And so that space, as being so open, allows for a lot of light entrance. G27, on the other hand, is quite dull sort of area, doesn't have a lot of natural light entering into those middle spaces, which requires far more artificial lighting, which you'll see reflects the energy rating that it received. In Figure 10 as well, you'll note that the staircase has a significant amount more light in G42. This is mostly because of that large window that occurs on that side, allowing for a more comfortable space. In G27, on the other hand, it's quite enclosed and actually has no lighting in that staircase, requiring a lot of artificial lighting and also more requirements for the elevators, as nobody really wants to enter that space. In terms of Griffith University's sustainability goals, a large one that we could implement into the building, particularly of G27, is awareness, particularly due to that natural ventilation element that could definitely be included. So if you were to open up those windows and the doors, particularly in those months that sort of start to get warmer but aren't quite there yet, that would allow a lot of that natural wind to come through, particularly on those elevated upper levels, and thus increase the amount of airflow and decrease the amount of air conditioning and cooling methods needed. G42, on the other hand, as well as G27, could definitely include more vegetation indoors, and then both of them are also quite accessible to the tram lines, which definitely improves the sustainability, however could include more bike racks, as it wasn't a lot that was found on site.